welcome to Computer Workshop. I'm your host, Steve Reeves, filling in for Dean Crutchfield. On our show today, we'll be taking a look at Palmtop computers. We'll discuss how people are using them to increase their productivity, as well as how you can transfer data to and from these miniature computers. For those of you not familiar with our show, we're live. During the program, you can call in with your questions, comments, and tips about today's topic. So feel free to give us a call. Our phone number in Houston is 713-749-8345. And if you're calling long distance, the phone number is 1-800-364-8200. Our guests today are Cheryl Currid, president of Currid & Company, a computer technology, research, and consulting firm in Houston, and Glenn Kaufman, product manager of the Mobile Computing Group at Lotus Development Corporation in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Cheryl and Glenn, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Thanks, Steve.
Great. I think the best way to start the show off, we can actually show people like the evolution of computing, maybe starting with this notebook here and how it progresses down to the Palmtop. Why don't we take the first one here? This is, why don't you go ahead and start?
Sure. This is a notebook computer. This was one of the first in its size. It's an AST, it's an 386 SX 20 megahertz. This is about 2 years old, and it's incredible what has happened over the last 2 years, and we will see here a progression of computers that have recently come out.
Right. I know when I bought this, I thought I had the best thing going.
It was.
I mean, it was
You did.
expensive, and
You
it
did.
was, but where it's gone now, it's unbelievable. Now, this has a disk drive and everything else in it.
To be honest, the laptop and the portable computing market has changed generations almost every 6 months since 1984.
All right. What I always tell everyone, a perfect example of how to buy a computer, let me buy mine, wait the next day and buy yours. Because no matter what I buy, it's out of date the very next day.
Sure.
Here's the next one. We actually have a slide on this one. This is the HP.
It's the OmniBook 300, brand new computer out of Hewlett-Packard. They just released it within the last couple of months. It is a sub-notebook. It's about 2.9 pounds. It's the first computer to run Microsoft Windows built in to it. Now, Steve, if you'll touch that little button off to the side with the mouse on it, out pops its built-in or built-out mouse. And that's a clever little device as a pointing device. The only bad part about it is if you happen to be left-hand, as we are, it's not great for the left-handed person. But other than that, it's a great idea.
And it does have some slots on the side.
That's right. The OmniBook comes with 2 PCMCIA Type 2 slots. So you can put in extra memory cards, you can put in a modem, internal modems. You can actually hook it up to a local area network or with a LAN adapter card.
Actually, we have one here. We can actually stick this in here, right?
Sure. And if you put that in, you instantly have 5 megabytes of storage space just with the addition of that card. And
That's great.
it acts as if it's a diskette drive.
We'll actually talk more about those cards later in the show.
Sure.
But this is pretty slick, isn't it?
It's a very light machine, and it's a very fast machine.
Yeah, very fast.
Okay, the next one. This is the Gateway 2000.
This was the first sub-notebook in its class. It's a 286 machine. It originally came in a price, I think, of $12.95.
Yes.
It has a very good backlit screen. It's not quite as powerful as this machine, but it certainly was the first of its type, and you're going to see a lot of improvements in that size category over the next coming months.
And I think what's nice about that, it's very lightweight. It's a DOS machine. It's not a Windows machine, so it is not quite as easy to use for some people as perhaps the OmniBook 300 is.
I think we actually have a slide that should up from this one. I don't know if you can read that or not.
Right. But it's a perfectly acceptable machine for word processing or different types of communications activities if you're on the road and don't want to use a lot of briefcase space.
It's unbelievably light, too. Look at how small it is.
Yeah.
This really isn't a Palmtop. I mean, it fits in my palm.
It's
like a Keem Olajuwon maybe hits a Palmtop or a Keem Olajuwon.
Yeah. It's the sub-notebook category and rather exciting right now.
All right. And then the next one.
This is the world's first handheld Palmtop that runs us. What's significant about it is not only it was the first, it's very functional. Just to give you a little more history on this, this was conceived by a development manager at Lotus by the name of Leon Navikas, and he had the idea for such a device and started etching a balsa wood model out of it on his kitchen table. And before you knew it, we got together with some engineers at Hewlett-Packard, and then this device came along. What's significant about this is Lotus 123 isn't ROM on the machine, along with communication software, a personal information manager also. And these applications run in ROM, which mean that when you turn on, they boot up right away. You don't have to wait for DOS to boot up, and for mobile users, they're not going to use the application if they have to wait a minute or so every time they turn on the machine.
Right.
So that's something that it's a real good benefit to users.
I think they have the wrong slide up there on the screen. Now, that's actually for the 95. This is the 100. They show the 95, just so people don't get confused there.
Now, okay, I was talking about the 95, then excuse me. The 100 comes after the 95. That just came out.
I'll switch it. Okay, go ahead.
What's significant about the 100LX, it's the first Palmtop to have electronic mail built in, built into ROM. It's CC Mail, which is also provided by Lotus. CC Mail is the leading land-based email package in the world, with upwards now of about 4 million users. So people can get their email by traveling around with that, and basically put it in their pocket, and they can communicate in a number of ways, which we'll talk more about later in the show.
Right. And then now we'll bring up the 95. Actually, we already explained it.
Right.
And the slide's already been up, but that's all right. We like to keep our director on his toes, you know? Now this one is actually a little bit different because it's in a cradle.
That's in a special custom fit cradle with the Motorola Embark pager device along with it. That's a wireless paging system. And we can talk about how people use that, but very exciting where you can have your news beamed into you just about anywhere on the planet you happen to be.
Yeah, this, I mean, I can download, sports and computer news, USA Today, right?
It's USA Today News.
And it also has email, too, capabilities.
It's receive-only email.
Right. All right. I guess what we got to do now, you've got a little presentation here on the screen.
Surely.
That will explain a little bit about mobile computing and exactly, what goes on.
Certainly. I'll basically give an overview of mobile computing, tell you about where mobile computing is today and how we at Lotus, for example, see mobile computing evolving over the near term and perhaps a little longer. And when I thought about this, I thought about my trip here last night. I'm running through the airport, I'm in the airplane, and I'm bombarded by all these mobile computing devices. Ads for cellular telephones, pagers, there are posters on the walls with notebook computers, and you're just inundated by this. And so mobile computing is very much here today. And I brought with me an airline magazine, and I'm flipping through it last night. And basically IBM has an ad here for the ThinkPad.
Right.
And there's also another ad right here for Embark, which is
This right here.
Sure.
that little service right there. So mobile computing is very much a reality today. But what are the factors that are driving mobile computing going forward? And that's what I'd really like to talk about right here. The first thing when people think of mobile computing, they think of hardware devices such as these right here. They're tangible, people readily identify with them. We look at the hardware factor, form factor, in two areas. Number one, the notebook slash sub-notebook area.
Right.
And number two, a new area, PDAs and Palmtops. The two are very different. We don't think that notebooks are going to disappear anytime soon. People need to read a screen that's relatively large.
Right.
And though they will become more powerful, they are not going to be displaced by PDA-type devices. What you're starting to see right now is a new category of PDAs.
Let's talk about what PDA, personal digital assistant.
Right.
We actually have one here.
Right.
This is the,
That's the Dolphin. That is the DTR1. It's a brand new device. And what it is, again, this happens to be a Windows-capable machine. It is a pen-based machine. And Steve, you can actually open it up and take part of that out. You can.
I need 3 hands here for this one.
Yeah. But you can take that out. It does not need a keyboard, although it comes with a keyboard should you choose to
Oh, you
hook
mean
it up.
take this out?
Yeah, why don't you take that out and also turn it around, because there's a port almost on every side of that device. You'll notice it has a place on, turn it upside down. There you go, parallel and serial for perhaps an external modem, or a parallel port for a printer. There's a video port, a keyboard port. Turn it around again. There's your modem for an internal modem, an Ethernet attachment if you want to put it on your local area network. There's the serial port.
Right here.
And if you turn one more time,
Nothing.
nothing, and one more time, you've got the on-off switch and an external hard disk or floppy disk drive. So you can plug just about anything, any type of device into it. It comes with about a 100 meg hard disk right inside of it.
Right.
So it's an extremely expandable device.
But you don't have to use the keyboard.
Don't have to use it. It comes with pen windows, and you can literally maneuver around quite handily with just the pen and windows. But should you desire to have a keyboard, you can plug the keyboard into it.
Computers are fun, aren't they?
Computers are
Isn't this
fun.
great? So I just wanted to explain what PDA was, so we talked about it. We have to have a, well, there'll be a test on this. As soon as the show's over, there will be a test on all these different acronyms, right?
Well, Apple was the first that came up with the PDA, Personal Digital System, and PIC, Personal Information Communicator, PIA. We at Lotus call them P-Star or P-Wildcard. You fill in whatever next two letters, that you wish. But you're going to see this area exploding over the next 2 years. Apple Newton was recently introduced. Casio Zoomer will be on the market. And it's really an exciting area of the computer market.
Yeah.
One compelling functionality that we see that's important over the future is communications. This will truly differentiate PDA-type devices. Right now, what you're seeing in the computer industry, in the mobile computing industry, is a marriage of computing and communications. And we all hope there are going to be some beautiful children out there from that marriage. Initially, however, there are going to be some that aren't beautiful to everyone. And it's up to our audience, who probably are mostly innovators and early adopters, to help us pave the future. So we're very excited about that. Now, why is communications important to people? It's important because when you travel, that's one part of your life that's really hindered. You lose touch with the office, you miss information, you're out of the decision-making process.
Right.
So communications will help restore that. And these devices will certainly help with that.
Well, maybe you ought to show what you have here. You want me to use this one over here?
Sure. This
Who's got the neater little pack here?
Yeah, this
This is great, huh?
is great. That is one of the early mobile computing devices, or you can call it a PDA. It's called a Viking Express, and what it contains is a Hewlett-Packard Palmtop computer attached to a device called a MobiDem, which is a radio modem. And if you were to turn it on and put the antenna up just about anywhere in the United States, you could receive electronic mail. That one happens to use radio mail, which is the mail system. And I carry that around the country wherever I go and actually send and receive
Here's the
email
antenna right here.
from very strange places like taxi cabs or moving sidewalks or just car rental counters or wherever.
Right. This is a hard thing to hold and show on.
Yeah, it's hard to hold,
But you can see it does fold up, and you've got little thing.
it's incredibly convenient to carry. You just sort of carry it around like a day timer.
Some extra batteries.
Sure.
You're always ready to go.
Ready
Now
to
you have the same thing.
Right.
Now what
I have
you
the
have a little
same
bit
thing,
different?
but just a little different.
Here, let me have this one. You have a longer cable.
I have a longer cable. It's a real high-tech cable. This is wireless CC mail. It contains a radio modem, which is produced by Ericsson, but you will see it under Intel right now. This will be available next week by calling Intel's 800 number. And with this, you will be able to send messages using CC mail wirelessly back and forth to the office anytime. And so this is really a real breakthrough because up to 4 million people around the world right now.
Constant communication.
Correct.
Sure.
Correct.
This is great. This is pretty fun. I got to get me one of these.
Yeah, they're really neat. They're incredibly empowering technology. It actually changes your lifestyle. It changes your behavior. There's going to be some very interesting socio factors that take place as people begin to carry their information with them and become accessible on an anytime, any place, anywhere basis.
Could be bad, could be good, could be bad.
Well, the one good thing about it, I will say, is all the devices that we've looked at so far come with an on-off switch. So you can turn them off.
But this is a good point to bring up. A lot of people don't like pagers because they feel it intrudes on their privacy, right? But these two-way devices have a technology called store and forward. You don't have to respond right away. Someone will send you the message. It'll stay in storage, right? You can read the message, and you can reply as you will. So if anything, it's a way to help you communicate. You really don't always want to, I wouldn't say you could turn it off. You should,
Right.
You know, there's no need to. In this
Well,
case.
it encourage different kind of behavior. I have friends that will only go to restaurants and request tables near windows so they can get better radio mail reception. My husband once called it rude mail because I was sitting by a window and getting very good reception and answering some email messages during a dinner.
They're not quite as bad as phones, though. I mean, portable phones. A lot of people don't like portable phones at all.
I think
this
they're
way
less
it gets quiet.
intrusive. Yes,
Right.
it's quieter.
Right. You just type it.
That's a very good point. Two-way electronic mail is a very private form of communication, and it's the first that's socially acceptable in a public forum.
Right.
Unlike a cellular telephone or even a pager.
Sure. Exactly.
It's just not obtrusive.
Now, you have a pager here, and it was going off till
And I
5
turned-
seconds
and I
before
turned
the
it
show.
off.
Exactly.
And
So
I
that you
turned it
do
off.
use the on-off switch.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, just speaking of privacy, one of the most unusual applications of wireless two-way electronic mail happened along a boardroom table. I was in there, and I had a meeting, and my boss was in there, and a couple other companies were in there, and I checked my mail, and I got a message. And it was someone from across the table, and it said, "Ask for more money." And it was my boss. And no one else knew I was getting this message.
That's right.
So it was, I mean, this is just one of many new applications that, you know, we can't think of until we actually start using technology.
Oh, that's too funny.
I chaired a Comdex panel at Spring Comdex, and there were 4 panelists, speakers on the panel, each having the wireless email, and literally we were sending mail back and forth to each other. Now, I'm not sure we weren't being a little rude to the people in the audience, but that's exactly what you can do.
Right.
Now, we're making great fun of this, but there's some really serious business implications of being able to tap into someone
Right.
very quickly,
Right.
ask a question, get a response, and go about your business. And that has some very serious business implications.
These are not toys
No, they're
anymore.
not.
They're useful business tools.
Yeah,
And they're not just for technical people.
no.
They're for the people, you know, in corporations worldwide who really want to take advantage of technology today.
Right.
Right.
Well, we had this talked a little bit about this earlier, the Embark. Why don't we, that we're talking about communications and things, what are some of the things you can download from this or
Sure.
get this on?
Embark's a very interesting service. It's a broadcast service, and what I find so interesting about it is you can subscribe to various filtered news, say categories, industries. I subscribe to the technology and telecommunications category, and what it lets me do is wake up in the morning, push a button, and download all the news out of USA Today, and it's very capsulized news, so it's the short version, if you will, of the latest news stories in the industry.
Right.
So no matter where I am, I don't have to open my hotel room to pick up the USA Today from down on the floor. I can get all the technology news right on that screen, and it's there every morning.
Yeah, they sent me this in order to use on the show, and they subscribed me to this USA Today, the computer and technology. I can find sports.
Oh, yeah.
It's great.
The weather.
Yeah, anything.
It's,
I mean, I found out what baseball game was on tonight, who the Astros playing, what time it's on ESPN. It's great.
Sure. And they also have the ability to receive mail, X.400 mail. They'll set you up a mailbox. There's many.
It's
many
receive
things,
only, though, right?
but it is receive only with Embark.
Where yours is.
The radio
both
mail
of it.
is send and receive, and the CC mail is send and receive. Yeah.
All right. Now, also, what other kind of, I mean, I know you said that you know, we can get a hold of you any time, which is good and bad. What other things, like, I know some of these, like the OmniBook, and this actually, like the 100 LX has Lotus 123 on it. I mean, do you use that very often, or I mean,
I sure do.
Do you?
I sure do. As a matter of fact, when I travel, but I am a bit of a gadget person. I have 2 or 3 computers, but I will frequently just pull the little Palmtop out and bring up a spreadsheet and do some calculations and think of some budgeting ideas or cost out on some proposals, and it's marvelous to have that capability, and you can save the spreadsheet out and transfer it to a regular PC or
Right, this information can be
Okay.
translated back and forth. As a matter of fact, I have, well, it's connected to the other end, but you can just plug this little serial cable that plugs right into the serial port of your PC, your desktop PC, or notebook,
Right.
and because that's pretty big now.
And in fact,
Plug it in, and it works.
that's one way. There's also, if you notice, a wire or infrared piece on the side of it that you, if you have another computer, either a notebook or a Palmtop with that infrared spec, you can line the two up, push a button, and have the files go between them.
Right, no wires to hook up.
Yeah.
So we could go
It's very
between the
magic.
95 and the 100?
Sure.
Or
Or the OmniBook.
the OmniBook has it also?
Right.
It's on the side? I'll hold that up real fast.
And you're going to see these more on desktop computers. this
It's
type
actually
of
on the back,
infrared
I think, isn't it?
communication.
Right, there it is. So if you were to line up the 100 to the OmniBook and push the right keys, we could transfer files just like this.
That's great. So, and you have to have a program. I think we actually have it on there, and IntelliLink
Right.
is one of them that actually will allow you to link back and forth, not only Lotus 123 files, but actually text files or anything
Sure.
else.
Sure.
And as a matter of
IntelliLink
fact,
is right
why don't you, one of the things, bring up IntelliLink right now, and you can see it has spreadsheets to go to Lotus. They should have Lotus 123 there, right?
Yeah,
That's correct.
And organizer and files, which is just text files.
right,
And you can import, export. It goes both ways.
right, right.
That's great. That's pretty neat. Why don't you go ahead and bring up organizer right now while we're at it? While you've got this up here, and we'll show something that's actually practical, linking these two together.
If you ever wanted to use an electronic organizer, this is one that's certainly incredibly easy to use, because if you look at what it is, if you've never used this before, you know how to use it. It's your day timer on a screen. It's that easy to use. There's really no learning curve in this case.
Even I use it. I use this every day.
Well, let's take a look at what you do.
Okay.
All right? Let's go over and look at the calendar. And see, on last Monday here, we have Nancy's birthday. And what's nice about this program is you can put in a series of anniversary type events, birthdays, anniversaries, and you'll put them in once, and every year they will pop up, so you don't have to rewrite them. And this is your calendar today.
All right.
And if you flip over here to your to-do list, you can just put in to-dos and assign dates. Now, let's talk about the color coding here briefly. Red means that you didn't, unfortunately, get it done. So it reminds you in
The
red,
story of my life.
you missed it. All right? Green are items for you to work on today. Blue are items that will happen in the future. And we always like the ones that are crossed off because that means we've done them already.
Right.
Makes you feel good when you get a few of them crossed off.
Right, right. The more the better.
I just always wrap them around to the next day.
You wrap them around, right.
By the end of the week, I've got like 3 pages of things I was supposed to do on Monday.
And they're all in red.
Right.
I wonder if they start flashing after a
They
week.
should.
We'll have to make a custom screen just for
Right.
you.
With the next release.
But in here also there is an address book where you can fill in people's names. There's a notepad.
Go back to addresses there real fast.
Sure.
And just hit A under the letter A up there. Just so we can see Miss Jennifer Albert or whatever it is, and Bill Aldridge. And remember those names, because we're actually going to show them on here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but how this data is going
You
to be
can
filled.
transfer files
I
back
just want you
and
to remember
forth.
those 2 names there, so that when we show it on here, you'll remember those names. Now I'll go to Notepad, I'm sorry.
Sure.
I like to interrupt you as much as possible.
You do a good job of it. You can basically take freehand notes on this. And let's just, and it'll list it out as a table of contents. So let's click on that. And here are some notes that you made about conference projects.
All right.
And there's also a planner for year at a glance. And so any events that you have will be filled in and you'll be able to track your
So it
progress.
looks like a PERT chart or a Gantt chart.
Exactly. In fact, there's enough here to go to the year 2000. So,
So I guess the computer will be good till then.
and you can go even further, but we
Right.
just didn't want to include it on the screen.
Well, there'll be an update before then.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what's nice about this is if you're done with this, there is a garbage to throw the items in.
Oh, great.
Right? So basically, you'll just drag and drop, and it's done.
That's great.
That's great. Now, again, through IntelliLink, that program, we actually brought those names. You can actually bring everything, the names, the to-do, and the appointments into this. Now, I don't know if you can see this or not, but it really is here. First name is Jennifer Albert. I don't know why I can't say Albert. And Bill Aldridge, their names.
Sure.
And now you can carry this around with you, and if you add them on here, you can put them the other way too.
You know, I think that utility program is probably about as important as anything you could talk about, because the difficulty with PDAs and small computers has always been, well, gosh, if I maintain it here, I'm maintaining it also on my PC, and oh, by the way, if I want to share it with anybody in my work group at the office, well, then I'm going to maintain it. You could literally have someone's name 3 or 4 times,
Right.
3 or
Right.
4 places. And heaven forbid if he moves, and then you've got to go update that. So the beauty of products like IntelliLink, which allows you to transfer the data, is you can get it right one time
Right.
and move it from computer to computer.
Now, what's nice, though, if you still insist on using a date timer, you can print out the pages from Organizer,
Right.
and they'll just snap right into your date timer.
Oh,
That's great.
So, it's certainly useful.
We're going to have to take a short break, all right? So we're going to go to the Computer Workshop Art Gallery, but when we return, we'll start taking your phone calls, so stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Computer Workshop. Today we're taking a look at Palmtop computers and how they can simplify your daily schedule and business needs. Our guests are Cheryl Currid from Currid & Company and Glenn Kaufman of Lotus Development Corporation. All right, when we left off, we were showing all this fun stuff, but what I think we ought to do is take a quick phone call. I mean, not a quick phone call. Let's take some phone calls because there's already people on the line. So we'll go to line 1. We have Chris. Do you have a question?
Yes, I do. My name is Chris. I got a question about the Apple Newton system.
All right.
Is radio mail available on this unit?
All right.
Is radio
mail
Available, correct.
Not today. I believe radio mail will at some point be available. They have just announced a mobile comm product that will be available. In fact, it came over the news service just last night. Is a product called MessagePad that'll send and receive and share messages with the Apple Newton. I believe it's coming out this fall. It's not on the market yet. But
All right.
soon.
Great. Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, John, do you have a question? Can we help you?
Yes, I was wondering, what are the price ranges?
Price ranges. That's a good question.
That is a good question. For notebooks today, oh, did we lose?
Go ahead. He can hear it.
For notebooks today, there seems to be a constant price point of between $1,500 to $3,000, depending on how powerful your computer is. Naturally, you can spend more. But the new PDA market is being tested right now, and that's in the range of about $600, $700, $800. And that's a new price point. And it'll be interesting to see how that is adopted and if that is a price point where people will buy products.
Right.
There's a good bit of discussion in the industry whether that price point is good enough. Some of the units are as low as $200, $300 for the Casio products. However, these are not quite the functionality of the Hewlett-Packard, which is around $600, $700. So.
All right. Okay. Yeah, because I know that the HPs, these retail for about what, like $500, $600?
$550 for the 95, the LX, and
I think it's $749.
$749. Okay.
So
maybe I've been watching the sales in the
these are
newspaper.
retail prices.
Retail prices.
If you can get it for $600, my goodness, I'll buy a dozen.
We'll take 3 or 4 of them. I'll take 3 or 4 of them. And this little cradle thing here too. I think what to do, we've got some more phone calls. But before, I'd like the people at home to know what you do. Why don't we start with Cheryl? Why don't you tell us a little bit about Currid & Company?
Well, Currid & Company is a research and analysis firm on new technology, and we follow several different types of markets, mobile computing being one. We are also very much into network-based computing and downsizing computer applications and some of the more serious business stuff. We also do a good bit of research and write a few books. You've got a copy of our latest book, which is called The Electronic Invasion. It's a survival guide for the brave new world of business communications.
And this is you right here?
Yes, that's me. And that's on the cover. I thought they did a great job on the cover with the man being invaded by all this technology. And what we've tried to do, or what I've tried to do in this book, is talk about how to be empowered by technology, not just invaded. So there's all kinds of tips on email and voicemail and fax and how to do things right and feel good about it.
And you use all these things all the time?
Every day. Every day. Don't leave home without one.
All right. Why don't you tell us a little about what you do at Lotus?
Surely.
And your division, I guess
That's a very pertinent point, because many people may be asking, gee, what is a person from Lotus doing on the show? Because Lotus in the past has been known because of its success with 123, its spreadsheet. But Lotus is far from a one-product company anymore. Besides mainstream products in the desktop applications such as Freelance, Organizer, Omni Pro, Lotus is becoming very much a communications-focused company. Today, Lotus has leading products, the leading products in 2 major areas: electronic mail, with CC Mail, as I mentioned before, and Lotus Notes, our groupware product. And we've been leading the market in this, and we have a relatively new division, which I am out of, the Mobile Computing Group. And over the next decade, many of the computers that are going to be sold are mobile computers, and they will overtake desktops. Right now we can only guess, but it'll be relatively soon. There's a good chance it could happen in 2 to 3 years.
Yes.
Do you have any opinion on that?
Well, yes. And I just saw some statistics saying that it is expected this year that portable computers will outsell desktops. Now, portable meaning this whole range of computers.
Right.
But they will outsell desktops this year.
Right. We have an interesting definition at Lotus of portable computers. We call them desktops with the air sucked out of them, because they basically replace the functionality of desktops on the road. Very different than a PDA type device. But I'm out of the mobile computing group, and my responsibilities include seeking out new technologies and business relationships, and then making sure that we build some products in this area. So it's really quite exciting.
That's great. That's great. We've got some more phone calls. Why don't we go here to, we have Moses in Houston. Do you have a question?
Yes, I'd like to know if you have any mobile computer for real estate, and what is the name, and where can I find one?
For what? I'm sorry.
Mobile computer for real estate.
Real estate.
Oh, real estate.
That would be a vertical application. I would
Yes.
think.
I'm sure there's something that
Someone must
have
write
some software or something
for that.
Sure. Any of these computers, especially the larger ones, have the storage capacity to keep real estate information, such as a database of homes for sale. In fact, you could do it yourself today by downloading
That would be great.
information from the real estate system into one of the PDAs. I don't know of any particular vertical application you can buy, though, right now.
Right. That would be great to be able to be on site and type in something, where's a house with 3 bedrooms, or within $100,000 or something
Sure,
like that.
and have it beamed into you. You know, you wouldn't have to necessarily store all the homes with that characteristics, but just queue up the question, send it off to your Office database and have the answers come back.
That'd be great. We've got some more questions here. We have David from Bryan. Do you have a question?
Yes, sir. First-time caller, and I appreciate you taking my call. I thoroughly enjoy the show.
Oh, great.
The question is for anyone there, and it's under mobile computing and with regard to email. And I like the idea of the Palmtop and laptops, but with regard to security, what type of security? There's been a lot of reports about invasion into email files and so forth. What types of security methods are out there available for these types of systems?
Okay, why don't I take it?
All right.
And answer that question. Wireless electronic mail is not like a cellular telephone where you can just tune your TV and basically listen to the caller.
Right.
There are a couple reasons for that. Number one, it's digitally encoded. So humans can't tune and basically decode that. Number two, there is encryption in the email package itself. Now, however, and I always preface it with this, if your information is incredibly sensitive, or if you work for the government, anything that you wouldn't say over a cellular telephone, I would be cautious about sending over electronic mail.
Yeah. At present, there aren't scanners that hackers can use for these wireless packets, but there will be, and so I think your caution is well-founded.
Well, let me add one other thing with regard to RAM Mobile Data's network. That operates on multiple frequencies, and so you'd have to be changing frequencies every once in a while to get the entire message, and right now that's difficult to do.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's great. I think we ought to let's talk about some more fun stuff.
Sure.
We have, we're talking about PDAs, and we're talking about Apple, the Newton, and everything. This is hot off the press, brand spanking new.
Yeah.
And why don't we talk about this a little bit? This is a...
Sure, that's the Apple Newton. It was introduced, some time ago, but just started shipping August 2nd, I believe. Now, this doesn't have a keyboard. It's completely pen-oriented. It comes with some applications such as your telephone numbers or business cards, schedulers, calendars, calculators. Technologically, it's a very advanced unit. It's running off an advanced RISC processor. It's got a PCMCIA Type 2 slot in it. It's got the infrared for exchanging files and data in between two Newtons. Very, very exciting. As we mentioned, it doesn't have email capabilities today. It will later this year. But very exciting unit and breakthrough technology in the handwriting recognition. The handwriting recognition is absolutely excellent on this product. Better than those that are out there yet. Still not perfect, but certainly better than what's out there today.
Right. It's got names. It's got addresses. This is a kind of a hard thing to show on here because of my shadow. See my head there? Nice. My hair. That's what the problem is. I always had that problem with my hair sticking up. It's always in the way. Names, and it has dates. And you just press this on here, and you can actually write things in. You can actually write a, like, call Bob, and it actually translates it into real text and use it that way.
Yeah, it has incredibly powerful software. In fact, before the show, we were looking at writing lunch with Bob, and it understood what lunch meant and brought up the calendar to schedule that lunch with Bob.
It's great.
So and by being so smart, you train it. You have to tell it some of these things, but it becomes your companion somewhat, your little friend. And if you were to use it enough, you would really have quite a little memory jogger there.
And it's light. It's so small.
Very
It's
light.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it also has a little fax modem that goes on it,
Right.
that connects to it. And it's got the little ports, all the little Apple ports that you can print to printers and things like that. But it's so, the first time I saw this, I couldn't believe how little it was.
Oh, Steve, I'm waiting for the day that we can wear our computers, and I've got the belt all ready, and I'm going to be able to wear it much the way I wear my Sony Walkman when I go jogging, and that's getting awfully close.
Right. It's we also have, what's this? This is another one that we have in the PDA.
Sure. Yeah, that is the VersaPad by NEC. They just introduced that this week.
This also has a pen.
Comes with a pen. It's very lightweight, unlike other pen computers or pad-type computers that have been on the market before. This one's quite lightweight and...
This is how I usually write, backwards, upside down like
right. Has ports, has the PCMCIA slots on the side, so it can take a lot of different enhancements and attachments.
Again, those little these little memory card things.
You have a memory card on one. You can plug it into your local area network with the other one. That's an interesting PCMCIA card that you're holding, Steve. That is megahertz modem. And it's just a little PCMCIA card. You plug it in, it becomes a modem, and if you touch the side of it, out pops the RJ11 jack.
Is that great or what?
Isn't that cute?
What a country.
What a
Isn't this great? Well, let's just show this one more thing while we've got this. We're holding up these MCA
That's
cards.
the Zircon credit card adapter. It's an Ethernet adapter, and it'll plug right into your
Same
Ethernet
little
LAN. Same little slot, and plugs right into your network. In fact, we've used that quite a bit at my office, transferring information and logging some of these little units off onto the
All
LAN.
right. Let's go back to the phone. We have Ron from Cyprus. Do you have a question?
Yes, I've got a couple real quick ones.
All right.
Number one, the remote processing, the radio modem that y'all were talking about, when will they be available, and could I get some more statistics about them?
Sure. The radio modems by Intel are available next week. And in fact, let's see if I have an 800 number here. It's 800-538-3373. And there are limited applications right now. Certainly the first, one of the first was radio mail, but another one obviously now is CC mail that we at Lotus are providing.
Right.
But maybe you also bring up a good point is for how about for people who don't have email today? How can they get at this? They need access to this. And there is a way for people who don't have email to do this. They can go through what we call public servers. MCI Mail is one. We recently announced a relationship with them where individuals, whether they're in companies or at home or wherever, can go and rent an email box. And so this is very important. So I encourage people, certainly who want to start using mobile computers, to go out and rent one today. Get involved.
Let me give you another 800 number for radio mail, just so you have a choice on that. It's 800-597-MAIL, M-A-I-L.
And we'll put these numbers on our bulletin board so that people can find out what these are in case they didn't get that number.
Thank you. I've got one other quick question on Lotus Organizer.
Okay. If you
Real
make
quick, if we have a type of organizer that we use that's not in the print screen, will there be updates to include those in future? And I'll hang up and listen. Thank you.
I'm not quite sure if I understand that question.
Didn't, and the gentleman hung up, and maybe he can call back at another time,
All
and,
right.
we can finish.
All right, because I didn't quite understand
No.
what he was asking.
I didn't either.
Well, let's take another call here. We have Don from Merritt Island, Florida. Great. You have a question?
Yes. Interesting show. It's real neat. I tuned it in on satellite. It's wonderful.
Great.
The question I have is on the mobile email. Does this use cellular phone frequencies, or is it beamed directly to a satellite, or what's the medium that the information is being transferred with?
Okay, that's a very pertinent question, because most people think today, gee, wireless, can I just hook up a cellular telephone and a modem? RAM Mobile Data, for example, is a cellular type network, but it's designed specifically for data.
Right.
You can't use a cellular telephone, but what the beauty of it is, it's reliable. And it's a new state-of-the-art, which really makes wireless email possible.
And very low cost. It's lower cost than a cellular service would be. However, you can buy cellular modems today, not through this particular service. But there are,
on a minute-by-minute basis?
not on the RAM Mobile Data. It's it's charged by the packet, and depending on who you buy,
block kind of
buy it from, it is a usage based. With the exception of radio mail right now, which is $89 a month flat fee, but don't count on that being forever. That'll eventually go on usage base.
In fact, let me just elaborate quickly on that. You raise a very good point with are you charged by the minute or the amount of data. Cellular telephones use something called circuit switching, where you basically pay by the minute. You rent the line whether you talk softly, whether you talk quickly or slowly, you still get charged the same. Whether you communicate at 1200 baud or 9600 baud, it's the same. These new data networks, such as RAM, Artis, are packet networks, and you pay per bit or per packet. And this is very useful when you're sending short messages, because messages take less than a minute.
Right.
And it's a very cost-effective and reliable means of communicating.
Right.
And this is really what's happening today, and it's the exciting part with blending the software into these data networks.
Don, the other thing you should be aware of is the services are not available in 100% of the areas around the world. In fact, right now, I think RAM mobile data is 90% of the U.S. population is covered.
What about the availability in Florida?
I don't know. I think it's pretty much covered the state by now, but I am not 100% sure.
Thanks for your call. All right, we have Rhea. Rhea, do you have a question? You're from Pasco, Washington?
Yes. I was going to ask about the cost, too, of radio mail. So I think my question's been answered.
Okay, yeah, it's if you were to buy it today, it's I think $995 to get the radio modem and the Palmtop computer. There's a $99 sign-up fee and $89 a month flat fee. And then but it's different for CC mail.
For CC mail, right now, if you start using it, there'll be a $75 fixed fee for unlimited messaging throughout the rest of the year. So it's an all-you-can-eat to try it out.
That was MCI?
No, that's using CC mail over the RAM mobile data network.
All right.
All right. Thanks for calling. All right. We ought to talk a little bit about these little organizers. I mean, we sort of covered the full spectrum of portables. This is just a little Sharp. It's the new, what is it, OZ9600. We actually have a slide for this also. But this one actually has a little pen. It's not really a PDA.
No, but the Sharp units are nice if you don't have the requirement for a lot of communications. They certainly have all the scheduler, calendar, to-do lists, great little pen unit with it. It'll store your telephone numbers. It is not MS-DOS compatible, and therefore it does limit you somewhat in what applications you can run. You can only run the applications that are made for it.
And we were told also that this, because the Newton is actually somehow, I don't know if it's not manufactured, what is it? It's in compliance with Sharps. I mean, they're actually working together, I think. The infrared on the Newton will go to the Sharp.
To the Sharp.
And then we also have these little Casios also.
That's right.
These are the same thing, pretty similar to the Sharps as far as electronic organizers go.
Right. Having the business cards, telephone numbers, memos, schedulers. Very inexpensive unit, $449. Runs on a couple of AAA batteries.
Right.
10 ounces.
And they can connect together. They have little ports on the side that you can connect. If you have someone that you're working with or whatever, you can actually connect your two organizers together and transfer data back and forth, memos or phone numbers or whatever.
Right.
And these also have a package that's, I'm sorry, I just took it off the camera there. Our director's going to shoot me as soon as we get off the screen here. This one also has another program that's called, it's called the Missing Link.
The Missing Link.
That can connect this one and the Sharp and the Casio. They can go through there, and there's a little plug that from the Palmtop utilities, that's what this is.
Right.
You can plug this in, and it goes to serial port also.
Right.
And you can connect this and download things also.
The connectability is very, very important because if you don't have it, you will start duplicating everything you own, and actually you could make yourself less productive. The average American white-collar worker spends between 25 and 30% of a work day or a work activity in kind of administrivia. And these units, if they're correctly applied, can really reduce that administration time.
Right. Okay, we have some more callers here. We have Ronald from Houston. Do you have a question?
Yes, I have a question. A lot of the PDAs that you show, I send and receive, are these only domestic? Are they international? I ask this question for two reasons. You have people who are not domestic travelers, they're international travelers. And then on top of it, I was really taken aback by the situation that you indicated where you're in the boardroom and you had a situation where you asked for more money. I can see this being handy where you had negotiations with foreign clients and they could speak English and you couldn't speak theirs and you could communicate with them. So are these international? Can I communicate on my PDA internationally, sending messages between maybe France and the United States?
Not today. However, if you have access to the internet, you can use it. For example, I communicate with people in Japan quite a bit, and I am able to queue in my messages to them, shoot them up to radio mail, which then puts it out on the internet. and takes the information, the messages to them, and I receive back information from them. So yes and no. If you were over there and tried to use it, the answer is no. If you're communicating with someone over there, the answer is yes.
All right.
But hopefully soon you'll be able to get another radio modem when you go to Europe.
Right.
And use it there. But you would have to have operate on a different frequency.
Right. Actually, in Europe, the Ericsson GE has quite a bit of it, Europe covered by it, but I believe it's on a different frequency than what we have. This too shall pass. I don't think it'll be a year before we have global access to this information.
Great. We have some more callers. Let's go to Peter in Crossville, Tennessee. You have a question?
Yes, I do. I enjoy your program.
Oh, thanks.
I've got a 386SX desktop computer. I'm wondering about the what kind of CPU is are the computers on the Palmtops, and what about interconnectivity, and also how obsolete proof are they? I know you said the industry is moving fast, and I just wondered about the what kind of CPU the Palmtops you have on it. Enjoyed your show.
Great, thanks. Hold on, we'll answer your question there. Okay, well, like this is a 286. A 286, like brand, it's not really a true Intel 286. It's like a 286 equivalent.
Right.
The OmniBook is actually a 386.
386. That's
all right.
Right.
And one thing I did want to mention, I didn't even, I go moving it off the screen there again, is the handbook, Gateway. I think you know about this. They're going to announce Monday. I wish they could have announced it on our show today. A 486 version of this.
That's right.
Same footprint, less than 3 pounds, like 2.75 pounds.
Over the next year, you're going to see more happening in that category.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
It's going to be an incredible number of products.
But to answer your question about obsolescence, yes, they will become obsolete and quickly. That doesn't mean you won't be able to use them for exactly what you use them for when you first buy them. But they are going to become more powerful, and I should think that things will continue to change probably about every 6 months.
Right. The other thing is
1984.
The hard drives are getting so small. I've seen they look like matchbooks almost. They're so small, and that's what makes them so nice to be able to put in. Now, with this, I think is, I don't know, an 81.
That's an 8186.
Right. So it's, I mean, they're getting, pretty powerful for these little things.
They really are.
That's great. We have some more phone calls. Let's take Jim in McKinney, Texas. Do you have a question?
Yes, I use email on the internet, and it has a feature called Mine, which allows you to attach a file, such as a spreadsheet file or a QuickTime movie or something like this, and it sends that with your message, and then on the other end, the person simply takes the file off the message, saves it as a file. I was wondering if the radio mail had this feature.
Okay. No.
It doesn't it does, but it doesn't. You can get a binary file to transmit, but you really get garbage with it. And there is a special version of radio mail that I have seen but not used that will extract and turn the binary file back into a file. The problem that you have sending too much, like a spreadsheet or a binary file, is those files are actually quite large.
Right.
And it bogs down, and the transmission rates just aren't that fast today. But tune in 6 months.
Right.
But
okay.
What are the transmission rates?
We found that the actual throughput is close to a 1200 baud modem.
Right.
But there's a bit of a misconception, if not myth, about speed, especially with email. You're not sitting there in real time with someone else at the other end having a conversation. Basically, you hit send and you walk away. Or if you want to download your messages, you hit receive, and you're not staring at the screen. So speed is not that critical. But also, I just may want to add, you can, with CC Mail, use attachments and send attachments.
Right.
Okay.
You just don't want to send anything too big.
Too big, right.
A couple of things I always like to show at like the end of the show is ways to get information on these different things that we're showing. Like this is a Mobile Office magazine. It's a great magazine to find out what's going on. We have Pen, talks about the PDAs and things, Pen magazine, and also PC Laptop. And this has, you can see all the different things, right, HP 100 right on the cover right there. And another thing I do want to point out is Glenn has put together, I'm not supposed to show white paper because it glows on TV, but here it is right there, see it? It's a two-way wireless connectivity for email, and we're going to put that on our bulletin board, and so people will be able to download that. But we're going to have to wrap up today's show. But before we do, I'd like you, the viewers at home, to know that Computer Workshop values your input. So get your pens, pencils, and keyboards ready to take down our phone numbers for the viewer comment line and the bulletin board service. I'd like to thank both our guests, Cheryl Currid and Glenn Kaufman, for joining us today. Over the next 3 weeks, we'll be taking a look at modems and how they can open up a whole new world of information. For Computer Workshop, I'm Steve Reeves. We'll see you next week.
If you have any comments about Computer Workshop or would like information on donating your artwork to the Art Gallery, call our viewer comment line at 713-749-8345. Don't forget to leave your name and phone number. For those who prefer to communicate through a modem, why not log on to Houston Public Television's Computer Information Service. Dial 713-749-8371. Then select the option for Computer Workshop Forum. For a copy of this show, send a check or money order for $29.95 to Computer Workshop, KUHT TV, 4513 Cullen Boulevard, Houston, Texas, 77004. Ask for show number 109.